Hey guys, I've been doing a lot of thinking a lot, and I just thought it would be appropriate to finally put on the internet my bullying story. And again, I don't know why now, why today, why at this time at like 10:30 at night. But I've just been thinking about it lately, and I just thought it would be you know cool to not cool, but it'd be cool of me to look back on a time where I went through some hardships and where I went through some struggles and where um, I wasn't exactly the most liked. Um, okay, so let's get into it. So I guess the story begins second grade, where the small things start happening, and the name calling starts. I get called, stupid, dumb, ugly. They told me my face was shaped weird. They told me because when I was a kid, I used to when I was little, I used to like long hair because I like to. I have curly hair, so when my hair is grown, I cut it. When I have long hair, I used to like to play with the curls in the back of my head. I don't know what the appeal was, but I was a little kid. I was like 10. No, not 10. I was like, what, 7, 8 in seventh grade? Whatever. But I used to like that. I used to like to, play with my curls. And, they called it weird. And they told me I looked, they told me I looked weird. And they told me, we don't like that. And I was very, I went off of what people thought of me a lot. And, you know, it didn't hurt too much at the start, and it continued, and they kept calling me stupid and dumb and weird, and when it came to sports, they told me I wasn't good at anything, and you know they just told me I wasn't talented, and I'd never they were all athletes. I was an athlete too. I played baseball at the time, and this was before I gotten into tennis. Um, I played baseball, and I was okay. I pitched, but whatever. And so it continued. Okay, so in second grade, it didn't really escalate up to you know anything big. So okay, we're gonna go to third grade now. Third grade, halfway through third grade. Well, no, a quarter of the way through third grade. Pushing and shoving starts. The pushing, shoving. You know, they would sometimes grab me by the shirt. And, they would like pull me really close and be like, you're ugly, you're dumb, you're stupid. And I was smaller than them, so I didn't exactly look them in the eye. Like I wasn't close to them. Like it wasn't that I was so much smaller than them. It was they were taller than me, and I was skinny kid. And I got called twig a lot. I got called a twig a lot. A little stick. I was really thin. I still am pretty thin, but not like I was back then. And um so the pushing and shoving started, and they would still call me names, and they would grab me and push me and shove me like I was a little toy. And I would go home each and every day feeling worse about myself. I would sit in my room, and while doing my homework or just listening to music or whatever, I would just why are you so bad? Why do these people hate you? You must be doing something wrong. You're pathetic. This, that, and the other thing. And, I just felt so worthless, and I felt so unwanted. And I didn't I this is where it started, that I started not wanting to go to school, and I would fake being sick, and stuff like that. I faked a lot of sick days, and it was bad. And you know just not it got bad. And okay, so that's all really happened in third grade. So now we're gonna go fourth grade. Fourth grade is when punching, smacking, kicking started. These kids had finally matured enough to, it's cool to hit people, it's cool to throw punches and smack people and kick people. And so they started doing that, be like, at recess. And I remember the first time one of them actually punched me was I was playing with my friends, and one of them came up and just punched me in the back of the head. And I kind of went, I looked at them. I was like, what was that for? And he just looked at me. He's like, we don't like you. You're not cool. You're dumb. You're stupid. That the basic stuff that I've been enduring for the past, what was it, 2 years. And so I kind of just, it didn't hurt that bad. It was a rather weak punch. So I just kept playing, and and then in fourth grade, we had bus lines. We would wait in line for our buses, and the buses would go A through, I think, I think it was A through Z. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't exactly remember. This was, it would go A through Z, and we would have a line, and kids were basically allowed to go talk to other kids in other lines, because it was public school, and it was basically you had to be in your line when your bus was called. Okay, cool. So a lot of kids would come over, and in the midst of other kids, because the teachers were kind of standing in the front, and they would get me, like when I was in the back of the line, and they would come push me, shove me, and then they would punch me, and I'd be on the ground. They'd start kicking me and stuff like that. But yeah, that was that, and it happened a lot, like not every day, but maybe every other day, and I found myself trying to hide from them. I'd never done that before. I actually found myself trying to hide from these kids, that because I didn't want to get hurt. I didn't want them to give me a concussion or a black eye or anything that I had explained to my parents. But then it became a little too much for me. There was the first time I fought back was at recess, and no one expected me to fight back, because I was smaller than them. Again, I was not so small that you could notice it, but I was smaller than them in height, both in height and in size. So I finally found the courage in myself to finally fight back. So okay, it's at recess. I think I was playing box ball with my friends, or Foursquare, as some of you other people call it. We used to call it box ball because it was a box, and we used to try to bounce the other person out. And so we were playing that, and a bunch of the kids that used to pick on me, they came up and they grabbed me and threw me on the ground. And this had never happened at lunch before. It was normally after school or in gym class. And so they grabbed me and started throwing me on the ground and kicking me. So when I got up, one of the kids punched me in the face, and I remember getting so mad. I was incredibly fed up with it. So I turned around, and I remember the kid that punched me. I grabbed him by the shirt, and I hit him right in the jaw. And I remember just because I'd never punched someone before. I remember just shaking my hand afterwards. I was like, ow, that really hurt. And then he fell on the ground, and I remember just chasing the other kids, and I remember, because at this time I'm fuming. I'm so mad because I'm starting to finally, get my share. So I'm running after these kids, and I remember grabbing one of them, and because not all of these kids were very fast runners, so I was able to catch up to this one kid and jump on him, and just I remember I had him on the ground, and this is the playground we're in right now, so the ground is kind of soft. It's bouncy. So I remember I grabbed him and I put his head into the floor, and I kicked him a couple of times, and that was my first sense of revenge. And after that, oh my god, it got so much worse. It transpired. I'm a freak now. I'm a freak of nature, and the skinny kid. So the skinny kid hits back now. the skinny kid hits back, and I'm a freak of nature. I'm crazy. I'm a psychopath. And I just got this bad image of myself, and everyone had a bad image of me. And it just made me feel worse. I had that feeling, of, oh, I finally done something. I finally stood up for myself for about 2 seconds. And then the next day I come to school, and what do I hear? Oh my God, what a freak! Oh my God, did you hear what he did? He hit them back. He fought back. Because no one was used to that. And apparently, now it was like, oh, he can fight now. He can defend himself, And I don't think they were scared of me. They just got more mad. They got madder at me. So they came every day. They would make sure, and I endured it because I didn't want this to become a daily thing. I didn't want to be getting, into fights on the daily basis because obviously, as you know, I got sent to the principal's office and I got a detention because, schoolyard fight. But then we're going to skip ahead now because the same thing endured. I'm not going to bore you with all that. The same thing endured all throughout 4th grade. I didn't get into another fight throughout 4th grade. Skip to 5th grade now. 5th grade, I'm a little bit bigger. I got taller. My first little mini growth spurt. So now I'm about the same height as these kids now. But that doesn't change the fact that they pick on me. They pick on me and they call me stupid, ugly, dumb, name it. They probably call me it. And now I still endure it, but now I feel a little bit more confident in my abilities to fight back. And the first, actual fight that I got into was, in the beginning of 5th grade year. This was no, me defending myself. This was like a fight. This kid, he didn't, blindside me. He grabbed me and he said, "I'm calling you out. We're going to fight right now." And I didn't turn down because this was the kid this was the kid that was the ringleader of the little gang of bullies that I was being exposed to. So this kid decides to pull me aside from, I think it was playing box ball again because that was the rave at the time. Me and my friends always used to love to play it. So he pulls me out. He literally pulls me out of the box and he calls me out, and all his posse is standing behind him, and he pulls me out and he says, "Okay, we're going to fight now. You and me are going to fight." So his posse and my posse, well, not posse, whatever. I don't know why I use that word. It's such a stupid word. His group of friends and my group of friends are all gathered in a circle. And, this was before fair fighting. We didn't really know what fair fighting was. So, I got in my stance. My grandpa. We're gonna get to my grandfather later in the story. But my grandfather taught me kind of the stance. I'm not gonna do it, but he taught me how to stand when you fight because being boys, he obviously knew that I was gonna get into a few fights along the way, whether he liked it or not. So he said, okay, I'm gonna teach you the basic thing is the stance. So I knew what I knew the stance. I remembered it. So I got in the stance, and I remember right away he threw a punch, and I just deflected it. I kind of just threw my elbow up and deflected it. It hurt because it hit a vein in my elbow, so it hurt. So I deflected it, and then he threw a punch kind of at my head, and it hit me, but not hard. And after that, I batted his hand away, and I punched him in the face, and I knocked him out, basically. And, again, the freak of nature thing started again. This kid's a freak. He can't control himself. He's crazy. He's angry. He's a threat to everyone here, So I ended up going to the guidance counselor. Oof, God, that was the guidance counselor. So I went to the guidance counselor, and I talked to her, and she starts asking me, how are you feeling? Are you sad? And I lied. I completely just lied to this woman. just to get me out of there, because I did not want to be in. I did not want to talk to her. So I said, yeah, I'm fine. It was just, boys being boys. He called me something and I didn't like it. So, okay, but I didn't tell her what had actually been going on, which is I've been getting absolutely tortured for 3 years, and you've let it go right under your nose. But we didn't get into that. Okay, so that's the major incident for then. We're going to skip to February of 5th grade year. My grandfather dies on February 27th, 2010. I can't even put into words how heartbroken I was when he died. Like, I was right there. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was there. Me and my brother were both there. It was a winter day. We were helping him shovel out his driveway. I remember the first time I saw him take a tumble, I looked at him, I'm like, that's not normal. He doesn't fall down. He has the best balance I've ever seen. He doesn't ever fall down, not even in the snow. I've shoveled snow with my grandfather every winter since I can remember, and he's never ever fallen down. So I kind of help him. I give him my hand. I pull him up, not pull him up, but I give him my hand. Help him up. And I say, Grandpa, you want to take a break? Are you okay? No, don't. It's fine. Let's go. We're almost done here. He was always finish the task at hand, and then he tells us, okay, guys, go shovel off, go clean off the car. Okay, we'll go clean off the car. He gives us the little car cleaner thing, so we're cleaning off the car, and then you kind of hear over the thing. This is the last thing he ever. This was the last thing he said to me. Guys, I'm gonna lay down to take a nap. Come wake me up when you finish the car. I don't know what in me allowed him. I don't know what in me ever thought to let him lay down in the snow and take a nap. What was going through my head? I'm 10 years old. I'm kind of getting mad at a 10-year-old me right now. But I don't know what was going through my head that let him that let me say, okay, I'll wake you up when we're done. So we get done. I walk back, and it's only been like 3 minutes. So I say, okay, Alex, let's let him rest a little bit. He seems a little winded out. Alex and my brother, we were with my brother was with us, and so I say, Alex, come on, let's go play in the snow, because this was like 3 minutes, and I could still, at the time, I saw a little bit of oxygen, and I would go over periodically and check on him, but I wouldn't get up close. I would go. I don't even know what I was checking on. I was just checking to see if he was there, I guess. And then this was the part that really grinds my gears to this day. 15 minutes later, I go and take a really good look at him. And it's about 10 degrees. And, you can see the oxygen in our mouths, but I go over to him, no oxygen, no air coming out of his mouth. I go in to talk to my grandma, police got called, the rest is history. So he's gone. The most influential man in my life is out of the picture, gone. Okay, so we're gonna skip ahead to when I go back to school after taking the week off, because I am inconsolable. I am completely. You can't get a word in edgewise with me, basically. So now we are. Now we are at the spot where I'm just back after losing my grandfather, and I know I'm going to be taking some serious nonsense from these kids. So I walk in the building, And the first 5 minutes I walk in the building, I get just pounded up against the wall for no reason. And at this point, I'm not even really caring about anything. So I completely I get off the wall and I push the kid off me. And I look at him and I say, "Don't touch me today. I'm not in the mood." And, he kept going. So I completely flipped out. I've never flipped out this bad to this day. I completely flipped out and I picked the kid up and launched him against the wall as hard as I could. And the kid didn't have a backpack on. The kid didn't have anything to defend himself. So what happened was I didn't pick him up per se. I didn't pick him up off the ground and physically launch him. I just grabbed him and threw him against the wall. And what basically happened was he hit the wall and his head hit the wall. So he fell and he was, dizzy and whatnot. So that's another principal's office call and I'm going to have another detention. Great. That's the last incident for 5th grade. And then 6th grade, middle school. Beautiful. This is basically the last year where any major bullying happened, but it's also the worst year. This is where I start, because this is where I start really hating myself. This is where I start, why are you still alive? Why haven't you ended it yet? You're worthless. You're garbage. You're pathetic. You're a waste of a life. Everything in the book. I was just terrible to myself. And what really started hurting was how the bullies were passing it on to all of my friends. And all the friends that I thought I had were gone. And they hated me. And they thought, I was crazy and that I was going to hurt them. So I had to make a whole new group of friends. It just got to be a lot. It sucked. A lot. But there was one kid who always stood by me. And his name was Stefano. And I don't really talk to him anymore. But, he always stood there. He was always there, 3rd grade I met him. I didn't really include him in the story much, but he was always there. And we don't really talk anymore because, we've kind of gone our separate ways, but he was always there for me. And I really appreciate that to this day. And, people, it became a daily thing where, and in middle school, I was defenseless. Like, I didn't dare do anything to anyone. I got into one middle school fight, and we're going to get to that later. But it was a huge, everyone picked on me in my class in middle school. It was awful, and I hated it. And, I got called stupid, dumb, worthless, and now it started, people started calling me gay because of the way, I dressed. I would wear jeans a lot. I would wear jeans, and I would wear, I still do to this day, really tight fit shirts because I like that look. I don't know why, I just did. And I still had the long hair, so, gay. I used to hear the word gay. I used to hear the word faggot a lot, And then I started, doing what was my version of self-harm, which was I would go home and I would take my fist and I would jab it into my body on wherever. And I would just start hurting myself. And, you're terrible, you're worthless, you're this, you're that. And, it got really bad. And then there was one incident where we were out at recess again. And this is when I'm stronger now. I can actually throw a decent punch. I can, you know what I mean. And so this kid, he came up to me, and I was talking with a group of people, and he came up and talked to me, and he commented on my hair, and he's like, "Hey, asshole, want to care?" Not that he didn't say that, but he's kind of hey, whatever. He actually did say the A word, but I don't want to. Hey, a-hole, want a haircut? And he started chopping at my head with scissors. And I got really mad. I got really mad by that because he actually did clip a piece of my hair off, and I got really mad. So this was probably the stupidest move of all time. But I lunged at him and I grabbed the scissors, and I threw them away, and then I proceeded to grab him and throw him on the ground and just go ham on this kid. And he was pretty busted up afterwards. Not going to get into details, but I got into a lot of trouble after that, and I think I got like a week's worth of detention, and that was really the last major encounter I ever had with a bully. Now I'm sad to say that I do still suffer from depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, but I'm not a bad person. I try to be the best person I can on any given day, and I don't self-harm anymore. I have cut, but I don't anymore. I have a great group of friends where I go to school. I go to school at Cheshire Academy in Connecticut, and they're a great bunch of people there that I hang around, and they're so supportive, and I'm so thankful to have them. I'm also a tennis player. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm like in between varsity and junior varsity, and I'm just really blessed to be where I am right now. And really, that's all I have to say. All I can say is that if you are getting bullied, you should talk to someone. You shouldn't let you shouldn't do what I did, and let it get to the point where you have to put it in your own hands and do it yourself. And keep in mind, you're not a tattletale if you tell someone. You're sticking up for yourself, and people may not respect you for it, but you'll be thankful. You'll thank yourself later on if you do tell someone. So anyone who watches this video, you're not alone. All right, guys, that's all I got. Thank you for watching.